The return of Kwaku Badu. The first time Kwaku Badu set foot on the tarmac at Heathrow Airport, he was 26 years old, full of dreams and hope. The year was 1995, and he had just completed his engineering degree at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. With a scholarship and a student visa in hand, he had the world at his feet, or so he thought. Life in London wasn't easy. The cold bit through his Ghanaian skin like needles, and the isolation gnawed at him. But Kwaku was not one to give in. He'd juggle night shifts at a bakery, wash dishes at an Indian restaurant, and somehow aced all his classes at the University of London. He earned his master's degree in record time and landed a job at a prominent civil engineering firm. That was when things began to change. Kwaku climbed the ranks, his sharp mind and relentless work ethic earning him respect and a healthy salary. Soon, he had moved from a cramped shared flat in Peckham to a modest two-bedroom apartment in Canary Wharf. He dressed in tailored suits, drove a second-hand BMW, and sent money back home to his mother in Kumasi every month without fail. At a networking event hosted by his firm, he met Rebecca. She was everything he wasn't: blonde, posh, Oxford-educated, the daughter of a retired British diplomat. But she was drawn to him, his story, his ambition, his laugh. Kwaku was nervous at first. He had dated women before, but Rebecca was from a different world. Still, love, or perhaps fascination, bloomed. They married 2 years later in a picturesque ceremony in Tuscany. Kwaku's mother and sisters flew in from Ghana, weeping tears of joy and pride. For once, Kwaku felt he had arrived. He wasn't just successful, he was accepted. In the following years, he opened his own consultancy firm. He had clients from Dubai to Denmark. Money flowed like a river. They bought a townhouse in Chelsea, vacationed in the Maldives, and attended black-tie galas. Kwaku wore Rolex watches and silk ties, Rebecca Start, boutique interior design firm. They were, to all appearances, the model of cosmopolitan success. But beneath the sheen, cracks formed. Rebecca wanted children. Kwaku kept delaying, citing work. She wanted to invest in her business. He thought it frivolous. Cultural tensions grew. Rebecca's family was always polite but distant. Kwaku felt the cold judgment in every dinner conversation, every smirk at his accent, every joke about the old country. And then the argument started about money, about time, about belonging. Rebecca accused him of being emotionally unavailable. Kwaku said she didn't understand what it took to build something from nothing. One morning, after nearly 8 years of marriage, she handed him divorce papers over breakfast. He was stunned. She was calm. "It's been coming a long time, Kwaku," she said. "We've just been pretending." What followed was swift and brutal. British divorce courts, especially when one spouse earns significantly more, are rarely kind to the wealthier partner. Rebecca's lawyers were sharks. She walked away with a townhouse, a hefty monthly settlement, and a portion of his firm's equity. Kwaku fought it, of course, but the legal fees drained him. Then the recession hit. Contracts dried up. Clients pulled out. Soon, he was liquidating assets to stay afloat. The BMW was sold. The office lease was terminated. He moved into a friend's spare bedroom in Croydon. A year later, bankrupt and broken, he bought a one-way ticket back to Ghana. He landed at Kotoka International Airport with 2 suitcases and less than 500 cedis in his pocket. Accra had changed. Skyscrapers now dotted the skyline, and Uber rides had replaced the old TRO tross he remembered. But his hometown in Kumasi remained the same in many ways. The same red earth, the same smell of kenke and fried fish, the same gossiping neighbors who watched his every move from behind their curtains. Word of his return spread fast. In the eyes of many, he was still the one who made it abroad. But the whispers grew when people realized he wasn't back to invest or build, but to start over. He moved in with his mother, who had aged but still made the best light soup in the neighborhood. She asked no questions, only hugged him and said, "You're still my son." That's enough. At first, Kwaku was embarrassed to even walk through the market. But as days turned into weeks, he began to find peace in the simplicity. He helped his cousin with small building projects. He taught part-time at a local polytechnic. He grew beans and cassava in a small plot behind the house. One afternoon, he was invited to speak at a youth conference on entrepreneurship. He almost said no. What could he teach them? A man who had lost everything. But his mother insisted. He spoke plainly. No fancy PowerPoint, no tailored suit, just his voice and his story. He told them about the cold winters in London, the late nights, the money, the marriage, the divorce. He told them about chasing validation in foreign lands, about forgetting where you come from, about losing yourself in success. And then he told them about coming home, not in shame, but in truth. You think success is money and cars, he said, but real success is knowing who you are when everything is gone. There was a long silence when he finished. Then applause. Real, heartfelt applause. After that, things slowly changed. He started mentoring young entrepreneurs. He helped a group of local artisans form a cooperative. He was offered a government contract to consult on infrastructure in rural areas. He never regained his millions, but he built a life of meaning. One day, while attending a community cleanup in the town square, he met Alma, a widowed nurse raising 2 daughters. She was gentle, grounded, and unimpressed by tales of London or luxury. She wanted to know who he was, not what he had been. They married under the mango tray in his mother's backyard. No Tuscany, no designer dress, just family, food, and joy. Years later, when people spoke of Kwaku Badu, they didn't talk about the man who married a white woman or went bankrupt in London. They spoke of the man who came home, the man who fell and stood back up, the man who gave more than he took. And in that quiet legacy, Kwaku finally found the wealth he had been searching for all his life.